The largest traditional painting competition in the world just gave an award to the most obvious piece of AI artwork I have ever seen. Not only that, it was one of 8 out of 5,000 paintings bought by the competition itself for their own personal collection. I went deep into investigating how such a mistake could have possibly happened, and as I learned more, things only got stranger. Every once in a while, someone who is well respected in a community does something so stupid that it not only makes you take a step back, but it makes you rethink everything that person has ever done. Well, it just happened in the art world, and they somehow swept it under the rug. This is one of the most spectacular displays of incompetence I have ever seen, and it only shows us how scary the future is. Our story begins with the Art Renewal Center, or ARC for short. ARC was founded to rehabilitate the art of the past, mostly focusing on 19th century realist art. Artists like Bouguereau are championed by ARC, whose founder, Fred Ross, wrote several of the most comprehensive books on Bouguereau's life. The goal of ARC is to revive the former glory of representational art, to promote a return of skill-based training standards in excellence in visual arts. A large part of their mission to bring back excellence in art is the ARC Salon, a yearly traditional art competition. This is the largest painting competition in the world, features over $130,000 in cash prizes, and contains gallery opportunities, museum shows, and international recognition. This year, there was over 5,000 entries competing for these prizes. There are dozens of awards in the salon. The largest is the $25,000 Best in Show Award, which is donated by the McAvoy Foundation, but we'll come back to that name later in this video. What we'll focus on here, though, is one of their 8 exclusive purchase awards. $40,000 from ARC is distributed to purchase paintings for their own personal collection. The rules of the competition clearly state works need to be original works of art and not copies of works by other artists. Painted over prints or drawings over prints are not acceptable. We do not accept photography, prints, nor do we accept digital art or art with digital elements. Does anyone want to guess which one of these paintings violated every rule I just mentioned? Because not a lot of people noticed when the competition results were announced. That was until 2 weeks later, when a new announcement came from ARC. New honorable mentions. A bit weird to do that long after the competition has been decided, but let's read anyways. It's been brought to our attention that one of our images from the 17th ARC Salon, titled The Witchling, possibly contained digital elements or was digitally created. We have completed a full investigation into the matter, hearing comments, reviewing images, and speaking to the artist. The work was examined in person, as is customary for purchase awards, prior to the award being given. After the allegations were made, the work was removed from its frame for closer examination and tested, and is an actual painting, not a painted over print. This being said, the image is not representative of the final painting, and as our competition clearly states, that no digital elements or alterations are allowed. We feel we have no choice but to remove the awards given to this specific work, based on the image submitted to the competition. The painting itself is lovely, and we wish the image submitted was representative of the final product. I want you to keep in mind those final words. The painting itself is lovely. We feel we have no choice but to remove. Let those words echo in your head while we take a look at the painting that beat 5,000 applicants. Oh my God. That's AI! Now, ARC is conveniently only mentioning that they are retracting the honorable mention it won in the portrait category, which is essentially a top 10 spot, meaning it beat countless real finalist paintings. It was personally offered several $1,000s. We don't know the exact amount, although I did find the site with the painting for sale for $5,500, and that does seem to align with about what the budget would be for all these purchase awards combined. Guys, I am serious when I say that this is only the beginning of how ridiculous this gets. Let's indulge ourselves in the analysis of this award-winning artwork. It's not often that I get to go all in on an artwork without feeling any shame. First, the obvious AI artifacts that earn this a 99.1% rating on this AI tester. Now, what is going on with this eyelid? Is this an eyebrow or the brow bone or a shadow or what? I mean, even the wobbly edge on the bottom of this stretched iris is very strange. The whole image is loaded with this strange AI texture. Some areas needlessly detailed and complex, others incredibly soft for no reason. It looks like it messed up trying to make brushstrokes and accidentally smeared dirt across the forehead over here too. The neck is long enough to legally classify her as a giraffe. Normally, the distance from the bottom of the nose to the chin will take you to about the start of the pit of the neck, but we're pushing over double that distance here with no end in sight. Now, I have to give her some credit here. It is accurate to 19th century history because this girl is not shaving. You can see this huge clump of hair spewing out of her armpit. Certainly some beautiful classical details. There's too many individual oddities to count, to be honest. The closer you look, the more you'll find. But on an overall scale, there's always this immediate tell that I look for to determine whether a painting is AI. Actually, a few of them. One of them is the edges of a painting. And I don't mean the very strange white lines at the edge of this painting here. I mean the edges between two shapes. They can be hard or soft or somewhere in the middle. You'll see hard edges at a sharp corner of a feature like the corner of a nose. You'll see soft edges at the delicate, subtle transitions of the face. This is one of the defining features that separates an amateur painter from a master: edge control. But AI doesn't understand the forms of the face, so it messes up and randomly chooses the wrong edges all the time. If we go back to this wonky eye, we'll see an extremely soft corner of the brow, moving into a razor-sharp random fold. Then there are these incredibly hard, stylized, blocky shapes, and suddenly the iris becomes blurry and soft over the bottom lid, which fails to pick up the solidity that it should as it folds over that corner. I easily corrected this in Photoshop in only a couple minutes, but as I painted, I realized that the more errors I fixed, the more I saw. It would be hard to genuinely fix this artwork without completely redrawing everything from scratch, because the framework it's built on is so shaky. Same thing in the nose. There's an incredible firmness in this side of the nose, but the other side of the nose is incredibly soft. In real life, this could only mean that the far side of her nostril was physically merging into the side of her face instead of bending around the corner. This is constantly happening over this painting, and there's not a single painter in the world good enough to even do a painting half as good as this that would ever mess any of this stuff up, because the only way to get good enough to execute high-level art is through a thorough understanding of form and edges. Above all else is something that I see constantly though, and that's AI lighting. See, this is not classical art lighting. This is modern photo HDR lighting. It's high dynamic range. HDR is when we boost the contrast between the lights and the darks to make every detail a lot more obvious. It's a modern way of making things feel punchy and flashy to look at. If we really care about 19th century artwork, maybe we should be looking at Bouguereau's impossibly soft, overcast lighting in his paintings. Or what about Dagnon's ability to model the 3D feeling of the face in perfectly soft lighting? That takes an incredible amount of skill. Or Meissonier's unmatched skill at creating dynamic scenes with very few hard shadows. This type of lighting only exists in AI images that are trying to look old, and only a fool who knows nothing about even the most basic core ideas of classical painting would think that this is what it looks like. The most insane part is that this person didn't even have the guts to submit their own painting. They submitted the AI-generated image straight from Midjourney, and then they scrambled to trace and recreate it. What happens is applicants only submit a photo of their work. If they win an award, then they ship it to be purchased or exhibited. So their own attempt is just spectacularly terrible. It fails at every opportunity. Hilariously, they copied all of these AI-generated errors, like this wobbly edge of the iris or the strange artifacted brow, but then they messed up the basic precision and drawing skills on areas like the mouth or the forehead, which are completely out of perspective. The painting feels washed out, gray, and desaturated because the artist states that they used a grisaille underpainting, meaning they copied the painting first in just a single monochrome color. Then they attempted to thin out many layers of paint to slowly glaze on top and bring color to the painting. But this isn't really the technique that was used by Waterhouse. That's the artist that she prompted Midjourney for these paintings. Or really, this isn't the technique of most, if not all, painters by the end of the 19th century. But she wouldn't know that. Not because she hasn't tried to learn, but because she doesn't care. She just wants all the credit without putting in any of the work, and she thinks we're dumb enough to fall for it. She also thinks a panel of judges is dumb enough to fall for it too. A post on Facebook, probably one of the only reasons the judges even retracted this award, alleges that the artwork was created by painting directly over a print of the AI. The video shows that there's many of the same AI artifacts in both, positioned exactly the same with perfect homogeneity of the surface. Now, ARC did specifically state to this claim that they took the painting out of the frame and confirmed it was not painted over a print. But I'm not exactly sure we can even trust their opinion at this point. Wouldn't you do a small amount of background research on your award-winning artists? This is a competition whose rules specifically state how conservative they are. This is a competition for fine quality, representational works of art. No modernist work, such as abstract expressionism, will be accepted. ARC reserves the right to eliminate works if it feels the method of creation is in question. Why don't we do the due diligence for ARC and do a cursory search that will land us on this artist's website? The figurative work section on their website states, classical paintings in the old master's tradition. Oh. Come on! I'm gonna censor these just to be safe with YouTube guidelines, but you guys get the point. I don't need to bore you with a lot more analysis of why this is obviously AI. What's even more disgusting is that they're all labeled as oil on canvas, but clearly these ones never left their poorly compressed JPEG file container, because I did go and find her Etsy and eBay. I am that petty bitch. Areas not linked from her portfolio, probably because this is the island of misfit AIs. These are so obvious and poorly generated that she didn't have the courage to even put her name on them. Editor Jake here real quick with a new addition. In the past few days, a lot of this AI artwork has been scrubbed off of these pages. Interestingly enough though, it's still up on the store in many forms. They seem to just moved a lot of the AI away from Alyson's tag to the rest of the store. This store claims to be an agent that represents Alyson's work, although I allege that this is just her under a pseudonym. I've linked this account and its pseudonym to several other accounts that use variations of the same name and contain identifying features that trace back to Alyson. They also ship most AI items from Alyson's location. I do want to take a moment here to remind everyone not to go and harass this person. I've done a lot of research, but this is just one delusional individual. I make this video to point out systemic challenges that the art world faces as a whole. Luckily, before these items were deleted, I showed them on a live stream. Here is some of that recording. You can tell a clear difference between when they pull it straight out of AI like this. We have this Neanderthalian waterhouse, which will make a return later. Very Neanderthalian brow on all of these. It's very strange. There's one more I want to show you guys. Actually, there's two more. This one's hilarious. Ooh. 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 That's all I got to say about this one. What do we got going on here? Full unibrow, straight across, hard right angle eyebrow. What's interesting is that she actually did try to paint one of these herself. She didn't just take it straight out of Midjourney like all the rest and claim that it was oil on canvas. And I fully believe that you did paint this one yourself, Alyson. Interestingly enough, in 2024. So either we've atrophied our skills since the original 2021 painting date on the Witchling, or more credit to the theory that it was painted directly over a print and you didn't even have the skill to even copy or trace a painting. This was about as much as I planned on talking about, to be honest. Hold right there, Jake. It's me again. I'm going to go on to talk about the multiple competitions this fooled and the judges that allowed it to happen, but I'd be lying if I said this didn't keep me up at night, replaying every detail of these paintings instead of actually getting any sleep. I've already proved that this is AI, but that isn't enough for me. How could I let myself walk away from this situation without tying up every loose end? If she's so careless and sloppy, then there must be more to find. A smoking gun, perhaps. Maybe a public Midjourney account, or a cross-post to a personal page stating their support of AI. Well, I chronologued every painting, sketch, exhibition, and Instagram story that this person's ever posted. I reverse image searched every painting I could find on multiple search engines, but I still didn't have anything other than a bunch of obvious AI images. And I guess that just has to be enough for my story anyways. That wasn't until one morning, when a new post popped up on Alyson's Instagram. I will be sharing much more going forward, including process images, which I am now capturing as paintings progress. With the dangerous advent of AI, this is now a critical aspect of the creative process for artists. My jaw dropped reading this, and I saw red. It was time to crack this case. So I went back to the start, and I laid out a series of original oil paintings she'd done and looked closely. The texture on these paintings just doesn't feel right. There's hardly ever a visible brushstroke in the face. Modifying the exposure shows all of this texture everywhere but where it's most important. Why would there be all this thin gray around the eyes? And those eyes are always perfectly yet imperfectly positioned on the canvas. How could you make an arm this long yet place these features this precisely? That's when it hit me. The truth was in the place that I feared most, Generation X. Specifically, the most Gen X Instagram story I've ever seen. On top of this horrible filter, Set Fire to the Rain by Adele is blasting in the background here. But this 52-week-old Instagram story has everything we need in it, despite her clever attempt to cover it up with a filter. We have the finished version of this painting in high resolution. Now look closely at the video again. Did you see it? Give me that frame right there. Enhance. Enhance. Enhance! Okay, yeah. That's good. What is this weird texture going on here? This is an underpainting. The early stages. You would never add more detail to an underpainting only to remove it later. The whole point of an underpainting is to make the painting process easier. And it looks far more interesting than this Bob Ross-ass landscape in the finished piece. No one would ever place these chaotic lines and shapes in an underpainting with so much detail. Except for an AI, because this isn't an underpainting. It's a print of an AI-generated image placed directly on the canvas and then loosely covered up with some sloppy glazes and brushstrokes of paint. You only see the brushstrokes in the background because that's the only place she can place thick paint without losing the essential drawing. Up until this point, I thought there was no way that someone could sink so low as to be too lazy to not even trace an image onto the canvas. But now I fully believe that Alyson doesn't even have the skill to pull off this image, even with tracing. I fully believe that the Witchling is painted over a print, despite ARC's authentication. And that's it. Case closed. Well, except for the rest of the video. Sorry, I'm really losing my mind over this stuff. This was about as much as I planned on talking about, to be honest. But the further I kept digging into this, the more I realized that this isn't just the issue of this one delusional artist, because even an amateur could really easily see this coming and instantly reject it from the competition. But ARC wasn't even the first reputable organization to accept this painting. In 2024, Alyson was elected a member of the American Artists Professional League, whose mission is to advance the cause of fine arts in America through the promotion of high standards of beauty, integrity, and craftsmanship in painting, sculpture, and the graphic arts. This is an association, a board of jurors who have to elect you to this position. They specifically don't accept AI or digital art. She was required to submit 6 works with her application, although I'm really unsure if she even has 6 real oil paintings. But we don't even have to speculate on that because her official membership photo is the same AI garbage. So yeah, she just sent in a bunch of AI and they just took it. Because why would a bunch of professional artists be able to tell whether or not something is clearly an oil painting or not? And this gave her access to apply for the Juror 96 Grand National Exhibition, located at the Salmagundi Club. It's a high-level venue well known for regularly showcasing some of the top-level artists in the country. Each piece has been selected for its beauty, quality, and beauty, and represents some of the most talented artists in the country. Not only did this work get through 3 more jurors, all with serious accreditations in the painting world to secure a finalist position, she pulled the same grift again, submitting the AI artwork, and then, thanks to this 30-view YouTube video walkthrough of the exhibition I found, swapped it out for her lousy copy at the actual show. So ARC isn't even the first major organization to fall for this. It's the most obvious scam of all time. I don't know what is going on here. How many dozens of high-level artists pass by this without even looking closely at it? Do all artists have their head so far up their own ass that they can't even lean in to look closer at a painting without passing out from the fumes of their own farts? Did I mention that this was going to be sent to the moon? Because I'm not even kidding. This year, all winners, honorable mentions, finalists, and semi-finalists will also be included in the Lunar Codex Polaris collection. Our images will be laser etched on nickel and or microfiche and digitized on terabyte memory cards and enclosed in a time capsule on the Griffin lunar lander launched by SpaceX and placed on the moon in perpetuity. You know, there's something very poignant about a grifter AI-generated artwork being launched by SpaceX to represent humanity in the 21st century. The 5,000 artworks that cost about $93 each to enter the ARC Salon are created by people who have dedicated their entire lives to art. This is what it takes to win a competition like this. At least that's what you would hope. Becoming a realist artist is a task that cannot be speedran in a couple years. It takes a long time, close to a decade of serious academic training and constant study. Even then, you'll always feel like you're falling short of the greats you can see online or the masters of the past. It's delusional to submit this trash and think that you can win, or to think that you could even fool anyone. It's beyond delusion. It's genuinely and seriously harmful to win and actually take prize money away from the people who have dedicated and sacrificed years of their lives to the arts. That's downright shameful. But what is more shameful is the experienced jurors that not only allowed this to slip by them, but gave it their stamp of approval. And I'm wondering why, or better yet, how? I'd like to shift our focus to the imaginative realism category. These are our 3 winners. Below that, the finalists, which featured the Witchling before any mention of it was scrubbed from the website. So who would allow this to happen? That's where I turn to the panel of judges. The founder, Fred Ross, is prominently here at the top, but Bridget McAvoy is a name that we've heard before. That's the McAvoy Foundation that donated the $25,000 grand prize and several of their own purchase awards on top of that. Why don't we read a little bit about this foundation? Bridget McAvoy is the founder and head of the arts division at the McAvoy Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving classical values in education and supporting exceptional contemporary artists. The McAvoy Foundation is dedicated to the creation and preservation of beauty and history. It was founded to educate the public and encourage historic literacy, stewardship of the natural world, appreciation of great art, and belief in Western civic virtues. The foundation supports a variety of organizations that uphold classical virtues in learning and masterful techniques in art. Well, besides that word salad, why don't we just check out the team real quick? Oh. I'm not going to do a whole analysis thing here. This is the most obvious AI art I have ever seen. There does not need to be any speculation because you can just right-click save these files and check their file name. Bridget.midjourney.headshot.png. Great job, guys. This is the largest donor of the competition and juror of many of the awards panels. The head of the art division at a foundation set to revive classical art education, shamelessly using AI art. I mean, come on. I mean, what is going on here? Do I have to look into every single judge in this competition? Yeah, I do, and I did. Why don't we go through the rest of the imaginative realism panel real quick? Only one of these 4 judges on the panel is an actual painter. Fred Ross hates modernism with a passion, but I just assume the cataracts are setting in or something, and that's why he's so blind to the AI. Patrick was a judge on a robot art competition in which primitive AIs and robots competed to make physical paintings. Well, this is all the way back in 2016, and his opinion could have changed significantly with the development of the technology since then, but at least shows that he's highly aware and in tune with the progress of AI and its capabilities. Finally, our last judge, Anthony Waichulas, who's written a relatively nuanced, albeit heavily fence-sitting article on AI on Realism Today, although this article seems to dance around sharing any actual personal opinion or his usage of AI. Luckily, he's answered that himself on his Facebook. I am a traditional oil painter, and I'm fine with AI image generation, digital art, cameras, and believe it or not, even tubed paint. Well, there it is. I mean, he likes AI. I'm not even trying to drag these artists for interacting or supporting AI in their own time. You guys can draw your own moral line, I'll share my thoughts at the end. I'm just laying out the fact that this is not a panel of boomers too incompetent for their job. This is a panel of people who know about AI, use AI themselves, and should have the skills to easily determine whether or not a painting is AI. Now we can return back to the ARC Salon's official retraction of the Witchling. The image is not representative of the final painting, and as our competition clearly states that no digital elements or alterations are allowed, we feel we have no choice but to remove the awards given to the specific work based on the image submitted to the competition. The painting itself is lovely, and we wish the image submitted was representative of the final product. This statement, it doesn't even sound like they don't even mention AI. They make it sound like the artist color corrected their photo a little bit too hard. And not only that, it doesn't even sound like a condemnation. It sounds like they're kindly asking the artist, please hide your cheating a little bit better next time. If the artist had just submitted their copy instead of trying to fake it with AI, they probably would have accepted it all the same. I mean, I wonder how many paintings were created by artists that were actually good enough to mask the fact that their references were largely or entirely AI generated. Like, what about this? How does this instrument exist? It's well painted, sure, but this isn't a real instrument that an artist would design intentionally. These tubes go in all directions, and they don't even connect to the bell. Neither does this even have any valves. Those are the things that you use to actually play the instrument. In the jacket, it merges into the glove, or this weird club hand thing. It's just It's all strange. And this guy can paint. But it's hard for me to believe that any human would make these decisions on purpose. But rest assured, our first place position of this painting was thoroughly verified by the rigorous panel of jurors. Probably, right? The integrity of competitions like this worry me when we have people like Eric Rhodes sitting on the figurative and plein air juror panels. Coincidentally enough, Eric is the founder of Streamline Publishing, who publishes Fine Art Connoisseur magazine, who also happens to be the top donor of the figurative category. They also publish Plein Air magazine, the top donor of the plein air category. And I wonder what Eric would think about an AI painting. Would he let that through? Well, we don't need to speculate on that. Let's just have him tell you.
The reality is you can go into a program called Midjourney, which I use all the time. I use it pretty much every day. Midjourney, I went into Midjourney and I said, I would like you to generate an image of two women standing by a lake with a mountain in the background, fall leaves on the ground, and fall color. I would like them dressed in 1950s outfits, and I would like it to be in the style of paint by number. And it spit out 4 images. I didn't like them, so it spit out 4 more and 4 more and 4 more. And I picked one and I used it to promote Fall Color Week. Perfectly legal, perfectly able to do that.
So how does it look for a competition to accept 5,000 entries? The first piece artists submit is $93, and after that, they pay $75 for each. Also, if they want to submit them to multiple categories, they have to pay that fee again. So let's average out to $75 across the board just to be conservative. That's $375,000 generated by just this competition. The total cash prizes were only about $130,000. $45,000 of that came from our AI-loving yet also classical art educator, the McAvoy Foundation. $25,000 for the Best in Show donation and $20,000 for purchase awards. ARC itself spent about $40,000 on purchase awards. Each category has numerous sponsors. I don't really need to speculate on how much those sponsors bring in to fund the rest of the event because there's clearly well over $300,000 in revenue here. It's not like there's some insane overhead to the competition because it's entirely online. You don't even need to send your painting in unless it's chosen for a purchase award or you get accepted into a gallery show. And besides, after the competition ends, they're going to hound you to pay more money to get your work featured in, wouldn't you know, Fine Art Connoisseur magazine. Only $1,800 to feature your painting on a full page. It's regularly $4,300, so you're getting such a discount for participating in this competition. Do you think our jurors make back all the money that they donate, and then some on top of this? I mean, that's purely speculation, but it would be a good gig. I mean, the daughter of Fred Ross, Kara Ross, was one of the jurors that gave the Witchling an honorable mention. She's also a writer for Fine Art magazine. She's writing the catalog raisin on Edmund Blair Layton, for which she's accepted as the world authority, authenticating works by this artist for Sotheby's, Christie's, Bonhams, and among others. So was she just judging with her eyes closed, or is this just another non-artist who's failed upwards thanks to her connections in life? I'm afraid that what I've seen here is just a small glimpse into what the art world actually is. A group of rich non-artists pushing money around in a circle, each time taking a small cut from the real people trying to dedicate their lives to an honest cause. The most obvious AI artwork I've ever seen made it past 3 jurors in the Salmagundi Club, a panel in the American Artists Professional League, and 8 jurors in the 2 ARC categories it placed highly in. It really makes you wonder, are they truly incompetent, or are they furthering their own interests? I certainly like when AI rotoscopes out the background of a video for me. I'm sure if you want to get philosophically in the weeds, you could find some use of AI image generation. I don't care, to be honest. What I care about is people taking the time to be intentional in life, about the things that they love. Not just taking shortcuts, not being a hack, not doing things to gain fame, just doing what they love to better themselves. Across the board, what I've seen from AI is a lot of lazy people trying to take shortcuts, only to undermine themselves out of the true growth that can come from actual learning. So, next time you see something that doesn't make sense, look closely.